Welcome to the Alchemy Experience podcast, where transformation isn't just talked about, it's lived. I'm Erin, and around here, we're turning breakdowns into breakthroughs, pain into power, and survival into serious thriving. Whether I'm flying solo or vibing with a badass guest, we dive into all the things on health, creating beautiful relationships, and building wealth. We're keeping it real, raw, and ridiculously empowering. It gets a little juicy, a little bit wild, and super inspiring. This isn't just another podcast, it's your permission slip to evolve loud, proud, and on purpose. Let's go light the world on fire. Okay, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Alchemy Experience. I have Veronica here. Welcome to the show, Veronica. So excited to have you here with us today. I'm excited to dive in because there's a lot you do. I was going through your bio to be able to share with my side of the world who you are, and I'm like, this girl has like a vast array of amazing talent, but you are a financial coach, an author, you are an opera singer, you are a financial tech manager, you're also a US Army vet. So thank you for your service and all you have done in that regard. But like all of it. You are all the things. It's wild and it's so cool. I'm so excited to share what you do and who you are with my peeps in my world because I think some of the things you're doing are definitely a need for people in the world around the financial space. So tell us a little bit more about you, dive into all these things of who you are, share a little bit more.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me, Erin. So nice to meet you. Right now I am a senior program manager at a financial technology company, and then I also run my business and wrote a book called Making Money is Simple. And so I have a financial coaching business as well, and so that's my baby, and I love helping people. Really understand their finances and really understand what makes them tick when it comes to their money and their money psychology. And sometimes also in within couples, like helping them understand their dynamic within the family and how they can think of themselves in that dynamic in relation to money as well. So that's what I've got going. And then for with opera singing, that's something that I've loved doing since I was a young girl. And I started my career in the military as a singer. So that was my first professional singing. And then I've continued singing with opera companies, choirs, orchestras, etc., for the past 20 years. So that's just been something that I've kept for myself.
That's so cool. Yeah. So it's like a little side passion thing that you've been able to turn into a little bit of, probably income that's been able
Yeah.
to sustain. So how did you get into becoming a financial coach? It sounds like there's a story behind that.
Yes, for sure. So, when I first graduated, it was during the financial recession, and I wanted to be an opera singer. I st went to school, I studied economics and I studied music. So I did both and was able to get a job with a startup right out. It was like you weren't, so I did my MBA later in real estate, but I wasn't thinking about real estate at that time because we had just gone through the recession.
Ah,
So that was not on my mind. But I was able to work for an energy startup and I really loved doing everything, like learning about marketing, learning about sales, learning about operations, and and then also I was singing in the evenings and the weekends and stuff. And then I was like doing well, but not like amazing in either. And so I wanted to continue. So I got my master's in music and then got my master's in my MBA with a focus in real estate. And I started working for this commercial real estate company. By the time I got out and I did those degrees, even though I had had some assistance through my military service, I still ended up with six figures of debt. And when you're a musician, they say that debt is the abattoir of dreams. Like it just kills dreams when you have debt. And I was extremely motivated to get out of the debt. But because I had pivoted industries into real estate, I was starting from the bottom again. So it wasn't like I was making a ton of money right out of finishing graduate school. But I was extremely motivated. And at the time, I was trying to combine my life with my boyfriend. We wanted to, like, do all the things, get married, buy a home, all of that. So I just felt extremely burdened by the debt. And I had this unique experience when I was working at the commercial real estate company where I was managing these multi-million dollar properties. And I thought at the time that I had been budgeting correctly. I was using a spreadsheet. I had the income, I had the expenses. It wasn't a negative number at the end of the day.
Mhm.
But I saw how fundamentally different the commercial real estate companies did budgeting. And now what I teach is strategic budgeting. So they have such a long outlook and they're able to forecast and reverse engineer outcomes that they want.
Mhm.
And that was like the light bulb moment that I had that I was like, oh my goodness, I've been doing this all wrong. And I'm actually able to be, the captain of my ship when it comes to my finances. And now I have the tools to do so. And just like there, I grew up in like a lower middle class family, and my mom was from the Philippines, and she sort of still had third world tendencies. And like I realized only when I got to high school and had my first sleepovers and got to college and realized how differently I had lived as a
Mhm.
child than a lot of people around me. Because in
Sure.
We're both from New York, and when you're in New York, it's like a weird hodgepodge of cultures and socioeconomic backgrounds, and
Yeah.
I just didn't realize how like diverse the that was growing up. Like I didn't realize that there was such a broad spectrum of financial backgrounds growing up. And then so I had that unique experience and I had the six figures of debt and I was like, you know what? I don't want to have the regular playbook of we're going to pay this off over 10 to 20 whatever many years. Like I want this done. And I wanted to my original goal was 5 years, and I was able to get it done in 3 years on like a median salary, like a starter salary. And that's just because one, I had the knowledge, and then also like working for the commercial real estate company, I was surrounded by these high net worth individuals that just thought differently. Like
Yeah.
they just expanded my mind as far as even if they had never done something before, it was not within the realm of impossibility. Like everything was
Mindset, right?
possible. Yeah,
Total different
everything was
mindset.
possible. It was more just like, how do we do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, dang, like I can do that too. And so I was able to reverse engineer that outcome. And now that's what I teach. And I worked in asset management specifically. So I just got really good at like looking at the minutia and being able to go in there and like make these changes. And so now that's really what I do is I work with people who are stuck and frustrated and they want things to happen faster. And we start just going in there and there's the psychology piece of like everything's on the table because, if you've been doing the same thing over and over and nothing's happening, like something's got to give, right? Something's got to change. So like everything's on the table. We don't have to do like extreme things, but you are going to understand deeply the trade-offs that you are making because you are making trade-offs somehow, whether it's time, money, effort, labor, like you are trading time for money, whether you know it or not. And so, like, let's look at all the variables that, all the possibilities for increasing your income. Let's look at all the possibilities for cutting your expenses and just look at them and you make the decision of what you want to trade. So we can, I chose when I was doing this, my husband, I'm really lucky. We are so value aligned. and he always lived way below his means, and he also had like a very hard work ethic. Like I love that about him. I met him in the military and he was working 3 jobs, and like you saw like my resume, like I'm used to just working, doing a lot of things all at once.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Like I had my full-time job and I was doing many singing gigs, and then like on the expense side, we were like, what can we cut? We didn't buy any furniture in our first apartment, and we didn't even hook up internet. Like I was like walking to like the Starbucks to do that, or like, just do it up. I was going into to work, just whatever, like whatever I could cut, buying, only thrift store clothing, if clothing at all, doing bulk meals, like just extreme bulk prepping, like whatever we needed to do. I just was like, I'm gonna do everything because I just want this. I want to just move on with my life. And like, so that was a really good exercise. And I think it's like another thing that I do is I connect the dots for people. So I think that sometimes people get stuck because they think like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to have to give up everything in my life. But once I'm able to say, hey, you can knock this out in a year,
Hmm.
that's much more motivating. Like if you can paint the picture for them and like connect the dots of these are the trade-offs. Like if you do this, if we tweak this, if we tweak this, this is the result and this is the time frame. And
Yeah.
then they're like, okay, like maybe that is worth like going a little hard to just get it done faster. So I think that when you understand, like that's part of my program, the painting the picture, making things time bound. That's like my first step is like, what's the goal and like, what's the time frame? And then also, so the time boundness factor, I think, is super important, and having everything on the table is super important. And then like people's actions are connected to that vision. Like it's not difficult. There's no friction in their actions and their mind. That's where people get stuck too, is like they want the results, but there's not any like motivating factor that's like big enough to make them give up all those things, because in their mind it's just going to be forever. They're going to have to give this stuff up, but they're not doing the actual math to figure out what does that time frame look like. Like if I just dedicate my time, like actually I can knock this out in a really short time frame and then I can move on. So that's what I help people do.
Amazing. It's that short-term sacrifice for long-term gain, right? It's really looking
Mhm.
at those baby steps, I think, too, that people think you gotta, eat the whole elephant, and that's
Yes.
sometimes really overwhelming and it shuts people down. And just like what you went through in being exposed to that environment, that you were surrounded by people that were like, not necessarily at a higher level, but they were thinking differently.
Hmm.
And I think putting ourselves in rooms
Yeah.
virtually or in person, that is intentionally expanding us, even when we don't even know it, So I
Hmm.
think that's so important. So you're creating a space for people to do that safely, to sort of just you know, expand themselves into thinking different, into
Yeah.
feeling different, because it is such a nervous system regulation piece. Money is something that I think it's one of the survival codes that I talk about. So in sort of my line of work, what I walk people through is not just the finances, but that is the third survival code. So I talk to people about like if our health isn't on
Mhm.
point, like if we can't even get out of bed because of mental health or physical health, like money's not going to matter, right? Like we've got
Right.
we've got
That's
to get
right.
our health on point. And then that second piece is relationships, which you're speaking about, is like who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are this level, or are you surrounding yourself with people that are big high thinkers
Hmm.
that can pull you up into that even though it feels a little scary? And then that third survival code is financial freedom and being able to get out of debt and then sustain building wealth. And so I love that your sort of niche and what you've sort of found yourself gravitating to is really fitting into that survival code, and it has to go in that order, right? Like we can't
Oh yeah.
get out of debt if we're not healthy because we're going to be making choices that are unhealthy financial choices. And
Hmm.
so we can't get out of debt and sustain wealth if we're hanging out with people that are making poor choices, right? So it's all intertwined and those are like the three steps of the
Absolutely.
process. So it just is so aligned. I love this. My experience is similar yet not the same, where I was very much burned out and thinking, like I'm never going to get out of this six-figure debt that I have. I mean, we had some heavy duty debt besides financial loans, student loans, but we also had just other things because we were normal
Hmm.
people, right? That like
Yeah.
didn't know any better. We were like, oh, it's just the American way,
Yep.
you know? And so I think the more we can share our stories of how we've gotten out of debt and how we are building wealth, and you have a proven system, I think that's amazing. And I think people need that. And so I love it. I love that shift that you made. So tell us a little bit about why you decided to write the book. Like, has this been something that's been you've been creating over time, or was it this moment of like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start writing my journey so that I can help other people in a bigger, more impactful way?
Yeah, I love that question. Um, so time frame wise, I started working at that commercial real estate company in 2017, and then 3 years I get out of debt. It's COVID. And all of my singer friends, my performing artist friends, lose their contracts overnight
Yeah,
and are
it's awful.
unemployed for a while.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had this new superpower, and all of my friends lost their employment like overnight. And so I just felt really called at the time to share the knowledge that I had. And I started with just giving webinars to musicians. And that kind of kicked off the idea for the financial coaching business. So yeah, that was a couple years, and I switched jobs and I kind of put that out of my mind or just got busy with the new job. And then in 2024, I had moved to, so my husband is also active duty military, so we moved in the middle of that. And so I was readjusting to a new city. So every time I move, it's starting over as far
Mhm.
as singing career. So that's you have to be, it's you have to be there.
Yeah.
And so I was that this is all in the book. I really love the book, how it turned out, because it really ties all of my stories together, which is cool. And so it started with just the webinars. Then I'm in a new city. I'm trying to figure out the music scene, and I started thinking about the financial coaching business again. And I started working with my friend who is a coach for like a business coach for musicians,
Mhm.
and he helped me. It's so interesting. Like he was also a real estate agent in New York City and had this opera career and he was his agent for 15 years, his own agent. And he was able to put the business piece and the singing piece together and come up with a system for being his own agent and doing his own bookings. And
Wow.
so he was running a booking boot camp, and I was like very intrigued. And I knew his background, so I was like, "Huh, we probably think similarly." And I took that and I was able to book out like 2 years of bookings after that using those methods. And it's like it's business. And I
Mhm.
was like, I had a light bulb moment of like, wow, I've been totally compartmentalizing these two things. And really, they work well together. And I can use all the business skills that I have in this other, you know, singing is entrepreneurial. You have to understand that, and in any entrepreneurial endeavor. So, so then after that experience, where I was able to book out years in advance singing gigs, um, I gained a lot of confidence. Like I had a lot of business experience working for multiple startups. I had done this booking thing where I was able to be my own agent.
Mhm.
And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I think I can. I had the coaching thing in the back of my mind, and I'm like, I think I'm going to go for it. So it was like this compounding of confidence over the years. And then I was just like, how would I want to market this thing? Like, do I want to do social media? Do I want to do blah, blah, blah? And I always thought that writing a book would be a cool thing to do, but I never wanted to do it just for the sake of, like, I wanted to have something to say if I was going to write a book. And I just thought that could be a really cool thing to do. And then it would allow people to, you're working with a coach or working in with money. It's a very intimate thing. Like that would give them an opportunity to get to know me as a person, my story, if they wanted to, share that and resonate with someone's story. So they can, I just thought that would be a really cool thing to do, and I could share my story that way. And so I have my Aria money model in the book, which is a mindset model, and that I talk about going from stuck to free with money,
Mhm.
and through that Aria money model, which is an acronym, but also it's a song, is like a song in opera.
So cool. The combination and the intertwining of all of that. I love it. What a beautiful process. And so, is the book already out or are we launching it? It's out, correct, in the
It's
world? I
out.
think I saw it on Amazon. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So that is for people to grab up. So I will be sure to add the link in our show notes so that people can take a peek at that and maybe dive into a little bit more of getting to know you and your process. But where can people find you if they're looking to want to engage with you or connect with you?
Yes, so my website is makingmoneyissimple.com. They can find the book Making Money is Simple on Amazon, and then they can find me on social media at Making Money is Simple.
Okay, amazing. Where do you hang out most, do you think? On
Instagram, probably.
Instagram is your, okay, cool. That's
LinkedIn
your
too.
jam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So I'll be sure to put those links so people can find you and connect with you. And I love ending with this question. It's one of my favorites that I ask everybody on our show is if you were to drop one nugget, one phrase, or one word to my peeps today, what would it be?
I'm going to go back to everything is on the table. So just keep that expansionist mindset of everything's on the table, everything's possible. It's just who are you going to surround yourself with to gain the knowledge?
I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit of your wisdom today, some of your story. For those of you that want to tap more into meeting Veronica, please start following her and pick up her book. So thanks for being here today. And until next time, guys, go set the world on fire. Thanks for tuning in to the Alchemy Experience. If this episode lit something up inside you, go ahead and share it with someone who's ready to rise too. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me online on all social media at The Alchemy Experience. Because transformation loves company, and together we all rise. And hey, don't just survive this week. Thrive like you frickin' mean it. Let's go let it up. Talk soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Alchemy Experience. If this episode lit something up inside you, go ahead and share it with someone who's ready to rise too. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me online on all social media at the Alchemy Experience. Because transformation loves company, and together we all rise. And hey, don't just survive this week. Thrive like you frickin' mean it. Let's go let it up. Talk soon.